Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. And this meeting is being recorded, so we'll be able to offer this to you on replay if you need to go back and watch anything later, or for anyone who isn't able to be with us tonight. First, I want to just introduce myself and welcome you to tonight's webinar. My name is Marcia Grady. I'm an initiate of Alpha Upsilon chapter at the University of Alabama, and I serve as the Chief Development Officer for the Alpha Chi Omega Foundation. A little bit later, I'm going to let Erin Parks introduce herself, but first I just wanted to welcome you all. Just so you will know who's in the audience, this was offered as a webinar available to both alumni and collegiate chapter officers who work with their philanthropy programs and the financial side of those philanthropy programs, as a way to familiarize you with the Community Impact Program, as well as the tools and resources we have available to you. This is a listen-only webinar, and so if you do have questions during the presentation, feel free to drop those in to the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and then we will answer questions toward the end of the program. Hopefully we'll answer most of those in the presentation itself. There are a few things that Erin will point out that are different for collegiate chapters versus alumni chapters. So if there's any confusion on that, we'll also provide you with all of the places you can go for additional resources or how to contact Erin for your questions. So Erin, if you'll go ahead and flip to the first slide. I just wanted to take a minute to talk a little bit about the Alpha Chi Omega Foundation. I know many of the alumni on the webinar may be familiar with the foundation, and some of the collegiate officers may as well, but we do find that there are a lot of people that don't have a really clear understanding what the Alpha Chi Omega Foundation's role is in the Alpha Chi Omega enterprise. Our role is to raise funds, primarily to provide financial support for Alpha Chi Omega's strategic, educational, and philanthropic priorities. That is everything from providing support for programs, fraternity programs like Leadership Academy that just concluded this weekend in Indianapolis, where four officers from every collegiate chapter traveled in to receive leadership development programming and to learn more about how to lead their chapters. It also includes chapter educational and housing grants for large housing campaigns, but also for specific grants to help with educational expenses for the chapter. Individual member educational and emergency grants. You'll see our scholarship and educational assistance grant applications opening on March 1st. So watch your inboxes for more on that. In addition, the Real Strong Women Fund is something I always like to talk about. That is the Alpha Chi Omega Foundation's general unrestricted fund that gives us the most flexibility in addressing those financial support areas that I talked about. Right now, the foundation is in the middle of a $25 million capital campaign. It's a comprehensive campaign to support and sustain the Real Strong Women experience. And what that means is that we are raising money to really develop a treasure chest to support four fraternity priorities: that fraternity support for programs, chapter support that I mentioned, that individual member support, and the fourth priority is the one we're going to talk about tonight, and that is our community impact. Our service to the communities around us has been important to Alpha Chi Omega since its earliest days after our founding in 1885. And since the foundation was created in 1979, it has been a priority of the foundation to provide resources and support for our collegiate and alumni chapters and individual members as they work for service to those to support nonprofits in their community, but also to raise funds, particularly in the area of domestic violence awareness. Community impact is part of the Common Bond, Uncommon Impact campaign, and we deliberately added that as a priority to the campaign because we wanted our collegiate and alumni chapters to have a way to be actively involved in this campaign without having to write a check out of your chapter budget to the foundation to make a gift. Your support of the Community Impact Program in supporting your local nonprofits also help support this campaign and support the Real Strong Women Fund. So we wanted to share a little bit more with you tonight about what that Community Impact Program is and how your chapter can be part of Community Impact. So I'm going to turn it over to Erin, and she's going to take it from here.
Marcia. Like Marcia said, my name is Erin Parks, and I am an initiate of our Alpha Chi chapter at Butler University. And I serve the Greater Fraternity and Foundation as the Foundation Operations Manager. I also manage the Scholarships and Grants program. So if you have any questions about either one of those, I am still the one you come to for that. But tonight I really want to talk about the Community Impact Program, something I'm very passionate about. I'm honored to be the contact for all of our chapters as they go out and raise all the funds and do all the great things for all the local nonprofits in their area, most of them domestic violence shelters and organizations that support victims and are promoting awareness. So the Community Impact Program is a program that the foundation started actually in 2004. For those of you that have been around the foundation for a little while, you may remember that originally it was called the Local Philanthropic Initiatives Program. That's a bit of a mouthful. And in 2019, we did change the name to Community Impact, just as just a way to acknowledge and reinforce the wonderful, wonderful work that our chapters are doing supporting these organizations all over the country. So the Community Impact Program is just here to help our chapters raise money. We have some tools that we can provide and some tips and that we can provide and some guidance as far as raising money for those philanthropic events that the chapters are having. And so far to date for the Community Impact Program, we are almost at the $10 million raised mark. We anticipate breaking that $10 million threshold sometime in February. So stay tuned for that. Pretty exciting stuff. When we first started this Local Philanthropic Initiatives Program back in 2005, we had 7 chapters, some collegiate and some alumni. And as of last year, we had 110 chapters total. So the program has really grown over time. It's been really fun to watch it grow and see just how many more chapters are taking advantage of the tools that we have to offer. And maybe even more impressively are the impacts that our chapters have been able to make. That first year in 2005, our chapters collectively raised just over $23,000. And last year we were honored to have our first over $1 million year. And as of I think earlier last week, we were at about $750,000 for this year. So still have about half the year to go. So pretty excited that I think it looks like we're going to have another over $1 million year. Just incredible, incredible work that our chapters are doing for their local nonprofits. For the donors of those events, there are some really important benefits that are available to them by having the chapter go through the Community Impact Program for that event. And one of the biggest ones for the donor is the fact that coming through the foundation's program allows them to write checks payable to the foundation, or you'll see in a minute, use a website that is it's the foundation's account with that website provider, so it's considered a tax-deductible donation. You may or may not be aware, but even though our chapters are nonprofits, they are not tax-deductible nonprofits according to the IRS. However, the foundation is. So going through the Community Impact Program makes it a community impact event through the foundation, even though I'll be honest, as the staff member managing this program, I will have very little to do with that event. The chapters are going to do all the work for that and then have the benefit of being able to offer that tax deductibility to their donors. Another benefit for the donor is if they are using if the chapter is using our donation website, they can sell tickets to the event on that. If they're having a 5K, they can set up registrations, they can sell t-shirts, they can sell donuts, they can sell carnations. They can do just about anything on that website. And from the donor's perspective, that's a one-stop shop. I don't have to go to website A to buy a shirt, website B to buy a ticket, call somebody to set up a registration. I can do everything right on that one page. And we do believe that that increases the amount of donation that they can get from each individual person. They're coming to buy a ticket, I'll round up another $5 to my total purchase, if you will, amount. And that does work to the chapters and then ultimately the charities benefit. Another nice thing is that they will get a tax receipt directly from that transaction on that website, or if they write a check payable to the foundation, then they will get an acknowledgement letter and receipt directly from the foundation. So lots of benefits for the donors on that. And then the chapters. I think there's lots of benefits for the chapters that I could talk for hours about, but the ones that I wanted to highlight, for as far as the campaign goes, like Marcia said, every dollar that the chapters raise through the Community Impact Program is included in the chapter's foundation recognition giving amount. And so when we talk about our chapters participating in this campaign, all of these dollars are counting toward that total that they'll see reflected. It is nice for the chapters who are busy doing all the things for the event and trying to go to class and doing all the other extracurriculars that they do. Going through the Community Impact Program allows the foundation and the donation website to handle the lion's share of how much work needs to be done to collect all those funds. So one less thing that they have to worry about. And then because the foundation is collecting most of that money for them and holding that aside for that event, when the event is over, the foundation then electronically transfers that to the charity's bank directly. So gets the funds to that nonprofit a little faster. We don't have to worry about checks getting lost in the mail, that kind of thing. But then the chapter does still get a letter from the foundation confirming how much they raised, how much was actually sent to the charity or charities. Sometimes they're raising money for more than one organization at a time. But then they will have that letter to keep for their records. And you will see there is also a way for them to report on that later at their, whenever they need that as well. We have seen that this, it's called CrowdChange, the website that we have available that they can use, the chapters can use. We have seen an increase in the amount that they have been able to fundraise with it as opposed to without it. There are some chapters that have seen a 200% increase in how much they have been able to raise simply by using that CrowdChange website. And I think one of the reasons for that, as I tell chapters all the time, you have to do your fundraising off campus is what I refer to it as. And by that, I mean that if the only fundraising they do is asking the people who sit in class next to them or go through the common area when they're doing a tabling event, if those are the only donations they get, they're going to be a little bit limited in how much they're going to be able to raise. But if you can take a link to a very professional looking website that they set up themselves in an extremely easy setup wizard that I'll show you here in just a little bit, they can send that link to quite literally anyone they have an email address for, especially the alumni from that chapter. They are the easiest sell, if you will, of anybody else. They already know the organization. They remember working with them when they were in school. They, of course, still have that affection for their chapter. And so it's a great way to be able to fundraise off campus and reach those people off campus, as well as families, mom, dad, grandma, whoever that is back home. It's a fun way for your family to feel like they are supporting their member while they're at school and all the work that they're putting into these events. So we love the fact that we have created this partnership with CrowdChange and are really, really glad to be in this partnership with them. They are a great friend of ours. Whether you use a CrowdChange website or not, I would hope you do, but even if you don't, the first thing we need to do to have a community impact event, how you tell me you're having one, is by completing a form on LyreLinks. If you are not familiar with LyreLinks, there are officers from your chapter who are. This is the portal, the Alpha Chi portal, where our chapter officers do all of their chapter maintenance and management. how many members we have, what our GPA is right now, all that good stuff. And it also includes filling out the CI form, or the community impact form. This is just a form really at the end of the day that gives me information about that nonprofit for whom they are raising the money. I have to have, just to make sure that I'm doing everything that our finance and our auditors and the IRS would want me to do, is get information about that organization that they are raising money for. We have a lot of chapters that really just support one organization, and that's fantastic. And those organizations love their chapters that support them and work with them. But even if it's still support, this next event is still supporting the same one organization that we only ever support, and it's the only one we're ever going to support, I still have to have that form every time just to confirm that, yep, the money is still, we still want our money to be going to this particular organization. Just for our auditor purposes, we have to have that on file every time. Fortunately, it should be a really quick thing to fill out. Like I say, at the end of the day, the most important part of it is tell me who the organization is, and I need a little bit of information about them. And I'll walk you through this form here in just a couple of minutes. If you are a collegiate chapter, this form lives under the Finance Actions menu up at the top. And if you are an alumni chapter, the president and the treasurer will have access to this form, and it lives in Philanthropy Actions. So Finance Actions for collegiate chapters, Philanthropy Actions for our alumni chapters. If the organization does want to take advantage of our CrowdChange account, they can do that. It is just Alpha Chi Omega.crowdchange.co. I'm going to walk you through this in a minute as well. CrowdChange was actually, it's an organization out of Toronto that was designed, got themselves together and built this platform basically for Greek organizations in the US. So they understand the fraternity and the sorority fundraiser concepts and challenges that they face, and when they're trying to raise all the money. And so they are very responsive as far as helping out our chapters. I have had some chapters let me know that we had an issue and we reached out to CrowdChange, and they were so great and they helped us right away. They're really great people. We really enjoy working with them. And like I say, they know that the people that are going to be creating these web pages may not have any web design background at all. And they have set up a very easy drag and drop, basically, user interface that's just a setup wizard that walks you right through it. You just toggle this on and click a button and upload a picture and you're done. And I'll show you that process here in just a minute. And as I mentioned earlier, you can sell tickets, you can sell items and things and shirts and donuts and flowers. You can have registrations, you can have sponsorships, and then of course you can have donations as well, and you can have any combination thereof. And just really depends on what you've got going on for that particular event. Sometimes you need more things than others. And a lot of times our chapters set it up just as a donation page, and that's fine too. But like I say, it's a great way to be able to fundraise off campus and really reach the people who are financially in a position to be able to donate more money individually. And if you can get several of those to do that, then it just really exponentially, in a positive way, impacts how much they're able to raise. All right. I am going to stop sharing my screen here with the PowerPoint for just a second, so that we can take a look at both LyreLinks and that CI form and CrowdChange. So while I am doing that and we are looking at that screen share, like Marcia mentioned, if you want to put some questions in that Q&A, anything that has come up, that would be great. Or you can email them to foundation@alphachiomega.org and we can address those later as well. I am going to get rid of that. All right. So let's see. All right. So this is LyreLinks for chapter officers who may be used to this. Don't think it is sharing. Marcia, can I get a yay or nay? Can you see my Liar Link screen?
I can see your Liar Links.
Well, thank you. It did not have the little red box around it I was anticipating, so thank you. All right, so in Liar Links, what we have up here right now is just the Alpha Beta chapter, which is our chapter at Purdue University. We're going to use them as our sample for this evening. If I am the VP Philanthropy, I'm going to come in here and go to the Finance tab. Like I mentioned, if you are the president or the treasurer of an alumni chapter, you're going to go to the Philanthropy menu up here instead, but otherwise it's still Actions. And here we have Submit Community Impact Form. This is going to give you a little bit of overview about the program, which most of the information I have just covered with y'all this evening. It also contains a link to the Resource Center on our new my.alphachi website. And there is a PDF of a CI program resource. There is one for collegiate chapters. There is one for alumni chapters. And like I say, it is available on that Resource Center page. We're just going to click the continue button. Again, some steps here. Crowd change. If you're not using crowd change, we really recommend that the CI form be submitted no later than 10 days after your event. We don't want things to get lost on the chapter's end. I'm not going to hold on to it any longer than I have to on my end as well. We are not making money off this program is the foundation. So I just want to get all the money collected so we can get it to that shelter right away. Sometimes that means we need a bill highway to transfer from the chapter. That's great. Sometimes the chapter ends up with checks that are payable to the foundation that need to be mailed to Indianapolis. Also great. But once I have confirmed with the chapter that I've got everything in my hands, then we'll start that closeout. And we come down here and click this little box that says on demand, which just means I can create one of these forms at any time. And then the continue button. The event title is helpful for me, not frequently, but regularly. We have chapters that are hosting more than one item at a time, something big ticket item, and then also a couple of small ones at the same time. It's really helpful for me to have the name of the event in here so that I can match up. This check came in for this event, this check came in for that event. So we will say, this is the test gala. The date the fundraising is going to end, so I know not to worry about this CI form until after it is time for all the closeout to start happening once the event has happened. So we can say this is going to end on February 1st, 2023. Brief description of the event. Gala at local event. Oops, hall. You can put anything in here you want. It's fairly limited character. How much is coming to the Alpha Chi Omega Foundation and how much we're going to send to that organization. We do require that at least 10% come to the foundation. That helps cover most of our expenses, credit card processing fees and that kind of thing. But then 90% can go to that organization. If they are raising money for more than one organization, you could say 45 and 45 or 60, 30, whatever they want that breakdown to be. If they are raising funds for more than two organizations, not a problem at all. Just email the same information I'm about to ask. The form is going to ask you for organization 1 and 2. Just email me that same information and I'll get that taken care of on the back end. For sending money to the foundation for this event, this is just to give me a little bit of a heads up on where I should be expecting to see things. Are you setting up a crowd change page? Fantastic. Then we're going to mark the online crowd change transactions box. Do you anticipate having checks payable to the foundation that you're going to have to drop in the mail to Indianapolis? Fantastic. And if you are a collegiate chapter, do you anticipate doing a bill highway transfer? My alumni chapter folks, you will not have this option because you guys don't have a Bill Highway account. Bill Highway is the platform through which our collegiate chapters do all of their financial stuff, pay their dues, pay all their bills. So maybe we have all three. But most of the time, we at least have that crowd change box marked. And then here's the information about the nonprofit. Like I say, the most important part of the form for me. Local DBA. I need their tax ID. And then whatever their address is. Typically, this can just be their mailing address. I'm not looking for their physical address. Sadly, I'm not going to be able to go visit them probably, but their mailing address is fine. And if they have a phone number, an email, and a contact person, that would be great, just in case we run into any issues getting that money transferred over. It's really helpful for us to be able to have that information, have somebody's name that we can ask for when we call. Not at all required and no big deal if they don't have that. I do appreciate it if they check this is DV related, if it is a DV related organization, or if it's the first time they've ever raised money for this particular organization. That just clues me in that I've got to do a little bit of setup for that organization on my side for when the event closes out. If they have a second organization they are raising funds for, the exact same fields are then here available for that organization. And then we click continue. This is just a confirmation of what we just entered previously. It gives them an opportunity to say, yep, all of this is right. If they need to go back and fix anything, they're going to click this previous button here. Otherwise, they're going to type in their name, exactly how they were logged in, and the date exactly as it appears as confirmation, and continue. And that's it. And we have a little confirmation, email in the foundation, and then my direct extension as well, just in case they have any questions. So that is LIARLinks. That is submitting the CI form. I have to have that CI form in my hand before I can process anything, because this is the form that tells me, hey, the money for event named whatever, this is where I want it to go. This is who we are raising the funds for. So we have to have this. All right, I am going to jump over to crowd change. So here is potentially step 2, setting up a crowd change page. When you come to alpha-chi-omega.crowdchange.co, not com, but because it's out of Canada, it is .co. These are all the Alpha Chi Omega chapter fundraisers that are currently live and up and running. So if you're interested in donating to any of them, I'm sure they would appreciate that. If you're going to start a new one, you do have to be logged in. Anyone can set up an account on our page. They simply need to, they would come here, log out. They would click the login and then don't have an account, sign up. And then it's just your first and your last name and your email. And then you can sign in. Once you are signed in, you can start a fundraiser. Fundraiser name. Hopefully this matches the CI form. And this helps me do that cross of, yep, I know this is the fundraiser that goes with that form that just came through. The in support of is the organization they are raising money for. So not in support of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, not in support of Healthy Relationships Week, but this is in support of local DBA shelter, whatever the name of that organization is. They're going to come here and choose their chapter. You can see we have quite a lot of our alumni chapters in here as well. This is by school name, not chapter name. So in keeping with my Alpha Beta form, I'm going to come down here and select Purdue University. We can have a goal, and this just allows you to see on your crowd change page, how are we doing in reaching that goal? They don't have to put that in here, but it's kind of fun to watch them progress towards that. If they have an actual date and time, we can say that this was on February 3rd. I think I said the 3rd or 1st earlier, but that's fine. And then ends on the same day, and that's fine. All right, this fundraiser description can be kind of important. I usually tell chapters, this is where you get to tug on people's heartstrings a little bit. You should talk both about the event itself. We're having a gala where we're going to have hors d'oeuvres and live music and a silent auction. It's our annual event, whatever. Talk to me a little bit about that event so that when I'm a potential donor and I come visit your crowd change page, I want to know a little bit about this event. I want to envision what this is going to look like, even if I'm not going to be able to come, or maybe more importantly, if I'm not going to be able to come, I want to know a little bit about it. I also recommend that they talk a little bit about the organization for which the money is being raised. Maybe provide a link to their website so that people could go visit the website and see that as well. But definitely talk about, why are we raising money for local DVA shelter? Who is local DVA shelter to you? Why did you decide to raise money for them? And so talk a little bit about them as well. I always recommend uploading a cover image. We have learned recently that without a cover image, the link to your crowd change page cannot be shared on Facebook, which I know isn't maybe quite as big a deal to our collegiate friends. But certainly I know a lot of chapter advisors like to share it on Facebook. Sometimes the chapter alumni have their own Facebook group. Always great to share it in that space as well. But if there is not a cover image, you get an error. So definitely make sure you're throwing an image on there. We'll look again in a second, but those were all those cover images that you saw in that first screen where all the fundraisers were listed. Down here is where all the magic happens, so to speak. You can toggle on any of these options. So maybe I'm selling tickets and I'm going to sell t-shirts, and I'm also going to offer sponsorship packages. I'm hoping I can get some local businesses to help sponsor this event and help pay for this event for me. And I click next. Oh, and I didn't put a description. All right. You can turn on personal fundraising pages or team fundraising pages. A lot of chapters take advantage of the personal fundraising pages option so that each one of their members can have their own fundraising page from this one. It's not a separate crowd change page. It's just a sub page to this one main page, if you will. And a lot of times that works out really great for the chapters. They're able to see how much each individual member is raising, and sometimes that's really important to the chapters. We can always accept donations. I don't know why you would want to turn that off. We can say that it is optional for them to cover the credit card processing fee, or you can say, yep, you're gonna. Most of the time, I do just recommend that we have that on as optional. But I will tell you that having that on, it's 2023. A lot of places that do donations offer the ability for you to cover that processing fee. And most people are really used to that and go ahead and do that. And especially in a larger event, or when you've got a lot of attendees that have come in and buy tickets, even if they don't make a donation, that credit card processing fee comes through as a donation to help offset the costs for us. And sometimes it can make the difference of several $100s worth of additional funds that come in for that event. So it's pretty cool. And then we are going to create fundraiser. That's literally it, y'all. You're going to see this great big yellow bar for right now because it is waiting on, well, me actually, but somebody from the foundation to approve this page. And all I'm doing is I'm going into my records, making sure that we have that CI form. Can't let you start collecting any money on a crowd change page until I know for whom you are raising the funds. And I'm going to know that via that CI form. So I have to have that information in hand before I can let you start raising any of the money, just because our auditors really prefer that. So as soon as I see that I've got a CI form that says local DVA shelters who they're raising the money for, I see a crowd change page that says local DVA shelters who are raising the money for, I know those two things can be matched up, and then I'll approve that page. So once that page gets approved, then they can come in here and set up their ticket levels. We can add as many tiers as we need, give it a name. General admin. This is a $5 one. If you want to limit the number of these that can be sold, you can do that. Most people do not. Add a ticket tier. Maybe we're going to have a student ticket. Maybe this is $2.50. And maybe we have a family pack. And it's $10. So now when people come in to buy a ticket, they're going to choose which one of these they want. Do they want a general admin? Are they a student? Are they buying a family pack? Whatever it is, it gives them options. Think of it sort of like an online store. Do I want the red shirt, the blue shirt, or the green shorts? And this allows you to pick which one you want. We're going to do the same thing for sponsors. I'm going to add a sponsor tier down here. We give it a name. We give it a price. Again, if you only want there to be one of these, you can say you can only have one. We're going to add another tier. I'm not creative, y'all. Maybe this one is $2,000. And you can add a description down here too. Includes 10 tickets, 2 raffle tickets, and business logo on the cover of the program, whatever that sponsorship package is going to offer. And then again, when they come visit the page, I can pick whichever one it is I want. And we would do the same thing for setting up any apparel or merchandise. We can add a description. You can add a photo of it, which sometimes is really helpful. You can add variations where maybe we have a small, a medium, or a large. Sometimes they set those up as completely separate items. Also fine, whatever seems easiest for them. So now if I come here and as a visitor to this page, I want to donate, I want to buy a ticket. I'm going to add a ticket. Oh, there's those 3 options that we just created. I'm going to add a student ticket to my cart. And then, oh, I guess I'd also like to donate $25. I'm going to put in my name and my credit card information and then say complete. And that is how CrowdChange works. When the event is over, the chapter will have access to these options up here in the top right corner as well. And one of the helpful ones is report. If they are selling tickets, if it is a ticketed item or it's a registration, 5K, something like that, when it gets to be time for the event, they can do a tickets report and it will list for them. Obviously, we don't have any here, but it will list for them what tier they bought, how much they spent, and their name. So they can export that. You can see there's a download button here. They can download that as an Excel file and be able to have that right at the check-in desk or table for the event and mark off people as they arrive. Can do the same thing if you have apparel. You can run that same type of report and it'll say you had 15 people that ordered a large, you had 25 people that ordered a small, 102 that ordered a medium, and here's all their names. So it really does provide all of that for them, which is really nice, puts all that information in their hands where and when they need it, I think. And then when the event is over, I'm going to come out to this page and run some reports, some admin reports as far as how much money came in. Reach out to the chapter if there are any ticket or registration or merchandise funds that have come in. The first thing I'm going to do is reach out to the chapter and ask them what they need done with that amount. Have them check with their VP philanthropy, see how much is in the philanthropy budget for this event, and then see how much you need of that ticket, registration, and merchandise money that was collected. I can transfer that back to the chapter and bill highway. Or for my alumni chapter folks, I can have a check sent to you or have the funds electronically transferred to the chapter's bank account if you need some of that back to help pay for the event. For instance, if I'm selling t-shirts, then maybe I need some of the money that was collected in order to pay for the shirts so that I can order them and get them to people. I can take care of that for you. Donations and sponsorships are not eligible to be sent back to the chapters, whether it's collegiate or alumni, because per the IRS, once it comes through as a donation, or how CrowdChange is set up, sponsors fall under that same category. Those are tax deductible donations and cannot be sent back for that purpose. But that's why we have the non-deductible tickets and registrations and merchandise, so that we have those available as non-deductible items to be able to send back to you to help you pay for the event. And hopefully over time, once you get used to using the CrowdChange for that purpose, hopefully maybe there's a way that we can reduce dues that way as well. Maybe we don't have to bill all of our members $50 or $75 for every event that we have. If I can raise the money via t-shirt purchases to pay for the t-shirts that I want to purchase, then I don't have to bill all my members. And we're just trying to make this as easy and great as an experience as possible. So hopefully that will help out. All right. I honestly think that's about all I have to share about CrowdChange. Are there any questions? I don't see any in the Q&A boxes yet.
Erin, I don't remember if you mentioned it, but I think one important thing for them to know and is that once someone has gone to the website and made that purchase or made that gift, they will immediately receive a receipt for that. So they have what they need for their tax deductibility and to file that for the future when they need it for that. But they also have that confirmation as well. And I would also add that for our community impact donors who are not members of Alpha Chi Omega, so parents or neighbors or friends who give more than $250 in total, they will also receive an end of year tax statement. So we do handle all of that documentation for the chapter.
Absolutely, good point. Yeah, and we also have the ability, and we have paired up with a matching gift company to help our donors be able to find out whether their employer matches their donations or not. And we have gotten quite a lot of matching gifts for donors from these CI events. Very nicely, the people have then submitted that to their employer for a matching gift, and we end up with sometimes several hundred extra free money for both the chapter gets foundation giving recognition for that, and then we get to send an extra little check off to that charity. So that's been really nice. Something else to keep in mind as well. Any questions from anyone on all things CI? It can definitely be a great way for the chapters to increase the amount that they are able to raise. Just having a really professional looking website that they can share out can really increase that amount. And having that visibility and that tax deductibility for their donors can really make a big difference sometimes, especially if you're talking about sponsorships. Businesses are going to sponsor if they can do it as a tax write-off. We got you. So we can take care of that for you.
I do want to add, just Erin and I were just talking about the number of alumni chapters who participated in CI in recent years, and it actually has gone down over time. And we're not really entirely sure why, particularly now that we offer the CrowdChange resources. I think there was some question, I think, from alumni chapters initially whether CrowdChange would work for them, but we have several really great success stories of alumni chapters who used to set all of that up through PayPal and do all that kind of thing on their own. And now it's just easier for them to run all of that through the CrowdChange platform, do their ticket sales, handle all of that way, but also that ability to add, allow your alumni members who are making those donations to benefit those local charities, allowing them to have that tax deductibility has been very helpful for them in increasing the amount of money they're able to raise. And I'm a big one on recognition. I know Alpha Chi Megas like to be recognized. Our chapters like to stand up at convention. And so I think that ability to be recognized through the foundation for the work that you're doing is also important. It does also provide great visibility for the fraternity to be able to see what are our chapters doing, how much money are they raising to help with local domestic violence agencies. And so this gives us a very easy way to run a report for the fraternity. So when they have to report to the National Panhellenic Conference or some other organization on how much did our chapters raise to for local charities, we're able to pull that from the community impact program. So we are very appreciative of the chapters who participate in it. And we think it's a service that the foundation provides that we're very proud of. And Erin does an excellent job. I will toot her horn. She is very efficient. She is very accurate because the numbers have to tie at the end of every event and every fiscal year. And she works really hard to make sure that even a donation that comes in late that kind of got lost, if it comes in late and got lost, she makes sure it gets to that local charity on your chapter's behalf. So I think we're getting close to our time, but if there are any questions, we'll pause just another minute. Otherwise, foundation@alphachimega.org is the easiest way to ask questions. And you'll also be able to see through our links those other resources, but you can also go to the resource center on myalphachimega.org or it's my.alphachimega.org. And when you've logged in, you can search for community impact and find those community impact resources that way as well.
Let me take just 1 second to go ahead and share that on my Alpha Chi, just so that we've got that as well. So when you're logged into my.alphachimega.org and we access the resource center, and I can just search right here, search for community, and you can see right here, there's the Collegiate Community Impact Program resource. There's the Alumni Community Impact Program resource as well. So this is a great tool to walk you through step by step the entire CI process. So just in case you want to have this, I highly recommend you have this to refer to when you're having your event. Here's how we get the money all combined together. And then what's going to happen at the end of the event, and when is it going to happen? How many days after that? How are we going to get the money then to the organization? There's some great screenshots for my collegiate friends on exactly how you're going to do that bill highway transfer if you need to, for whatever reason, to the foundation to get some of those that extra money into the event. There's our address here in Indianapolis if you have any checks payable to the foundation that need to be mailed. And like I say, there's our email address right there at the bottom of it as well, just in case you need that. So definitely hit the resource center. Those are there at all times. And we are going to put the recording of this webinar out here on the resource center as well. So send your friends here later. If they were not able to join us this evening, they'll have access to that. All right. Well, I think I am going to go ahead and close us out for the evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope you've learned at least a couple of tidbits that you can take back to the rest of your chapter friends. And please, foundation@alphachimega.org. I am happy to work with you, answer any questions at any time. I'm really passionate about helping our chapters in these events. So you're never bugging me. And I would be delighted to hear from you. And we will get all your questions answered so you can raise all the money and do all the great work that you're already doing. Have a great night, y'all. Thank you for coming.